That's interesting. I saw one critique of One Battle After Another, after PTA failed to kind of deliver any sort of political message at the Golden Globes, questioning if Revolution was simply the aesthetic of the film. And I don't think that's entirely true, but I believe at its core it's actually a movie about parenthood, right? That all of the action is driven by two particular parents in a quest to find a daughter. Both men with very different aims as to what they're going to do when they find this daughter. And that, there's always what happens in a movie and then what the movie's about. And so it's using Revolution as a backdrop. And I do think it is kind of bread and circuses. It's red meat, for non-Republicans, basically, because it kind of splits the difference between hyper-realism and kind of Thomas Pynchon-esque absurdity, where we're seeing images on the screen that match other images we're seeing on the screen, specifically with ICE and people of color and all of these things. But then there's characters like Stephen J. Lockjaw, which is a Pynchon-esque name. I don't know if that name comes directly from Vineland, but it certainly could come from a Pynchon novel. Likewise with Perfidia Beverly Hills, Ghetto Pat, all of these clever little names. But I think when we really look at what's driving the action, it's parenthood. And this, I'm going to have some spoilers, so if you haven't seen it, stop watching now. But the action is driven by two men's quest to find their daughter, right? And so, you have Leo who is on a quest to find his daughter to ostensibly save her, in which the narrative intentionally eschews the white savior trope, right? That he doesn't save her. She saves herself. And then in a stroke of genius, she doesn't recognize him. She recognizes him as a threat. Make of that of what you will as the trauma being inflicted upon her by white men. And then there's Stephen Lockjaw, who, just like Ethan in The Searchers, is searching for his, is it his daughter or is it not? And what's he going to do once he finds her, right? Because he's a liability to her. And so, I think it's a movie, Paul Thomas Anderson has made a career out of making movies about interpersonal relationships, right? And the psychodynamics of interpersonal relationships. And this film is certainly no different. I mean, it's like The Master. Is that really about the founding of Scientology? Or is it about the relationship between Freddie Quell and Lancaster Dodd? It's the latter. It's a relationship about two men, one traumatized and one a huge narcissist, right? And this kind of strange bromance. The bromance appears in PTA's movies, or kind of two men that serve as polar opposites, or whatever you want to call them. I mean, Eli Sunday and Daniel Plainview, Doc Sportello and Bigfoot Bjornson. You have a bunch of them in Boogie Nights. You have Magnolia that is entirely made up of intertwining interpersonal relationships. And so to me, that's actually PTA's strength, is this understanding of human relationships, right? And so I think, people gravitated towards One Battle After Another because of the way it resonated with the current events that are going on. But I don't think he made those things the central point of the story, right? I do think there's commentary on revolution and racial dynamics within revolution. I mean, when you look at Benicio del Toro's character, for instance, creating community, creating action, ocean waves, calmness in the midst of this swirling tornado or hurricane, around them. But again, like when you really distill what the movie is about, it's not about revolution. It's about parenting. It's about parents. It's about interpersonal relationships.